Hi, everybody. This is Lori from GLP-1 Journey in Review. Let me just silence my phone. Sorry. Okay. So, welcome to my live, back from vacation. Let's get a couple of things first. I'm not a healthcare provider. I don't pretend to be. This is what works for me. It's not intended for medical advice. So don't take it as medical advice. Hope you all have had a good week. I'm back from vacation. I gained 3 pounds on vacation, not too bad. I'm happy with that. It does feel good to be back home, normal type of eating. I was getting a little tired of restaurants, but hey, that's what vacation is. So let's start out with some stuff going on in the GLP-1 world. Well, apparently, some GLP-1 Facebook sites have been taken down. So if any of you have any problems with any of these Facebook pages, please don't report them to Facebook. Report them to the moderator. Give them a chance to fix it because Facebook will just take down the page, ask questions later, and it could be really hard to get them back up. Hi, Carol. How you doing? Thanks for joining me. Um, Again, we're just getting started. I know that on the pen, I know that Allie's site, they both have backup sites. I believe the Countess site was down for a short time. There have been a couple of them. Coincidence? Disgruntled person? Fortunately, mine is so small, I haven't really started to work on it yet. I just don't have time. Not that I don't have time for you, I do check it. But right now, I'm just trying to build up the channel so that I could keep bringing you some good information. And my goal is to have better access and more affordability. And then I will be happy. So I will advocate for all day long, all night long. Um, I try to answer people's questions. I know that you had some. I am working on a video on one of your questions, and it's kind of an important question on taking oral medications while you're on GLP-1. I don't want to get into it too much because I am going to be working on the video and the script just about all the way done, and hopefully that'll come out in like a week or so. So I also assume that most of you have heard that the CEO of Novo Nordisk has stepped down. Main reason being that Zepbound, Mounjaro have taken over and they are now more popular than Wegovy, Ozempic. So also learned that according to Eli Lilly, about half of the people that are on tirzepatide are actually on compound. That is huge, considering that they're making billions of dollars each quarter. That leaves billions of dollars for these telehealth and compounding pharmacies to be making. That's a lot of money. And you'd think with all eyes on them, they would keep out of scandal. And yet now Empower is under scandal over not using proper sterile technique and so forth. Like I said, this is a huge business. With Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk doing this, all eyes are on you. Why can't you get your act together and just do it right? You're making millions. Hi, Carla. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're a big fan. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Really does help. If you find this information useful, I'll share it with a friend. If you don't find it useful, like and subscribe. I'm not picky. No, I'm just kidding. I want you to like and enjoy it. So, again, you would think that these compounding pharmacies would really be on their toes knowing what happened with Akita and all this kind of stuff, but they're not. And, there's still, you know, billions to be made, especially once the new medications come out. There's going to be shortages again. I'm sure. It's like I don't know what they're thinking. I know it's probably not really good business doing that, but I do want to give you my little update on Mochi. I'm still using them along with some of the other ones. I ordered Tuesday morning and I just got a notification today that it is ready for FedEx to pick up from Red Rock. I guess the last one came from South End, so I don't know if they just had to switch it because uh, they get it out sooner. I don't know, but as long as it's still available, I'm still stocking up and keeping up on it because it's probably not going to be much longer. So take advantage. I'm not sure if this, adding B12 or B6 or any of this type of thing is going to really help because how could they say that this is, a specific formula for a specific need of patients and then write 100,000 of them, but again, it's going to leave us some time for them to argue and to fight over it. And in the meantime, hopefully still getting our compound. Um, so, that's where it stands with Mochi. I know they've gotten a lot of bad press. They probably deserve it. But as long as I'm getting my medications, I don't mean to make it sound that it's all about me, but I hope all of you are getting some sort of medications. And again, just be careful. There's a lot of fake sites out there. They're trying to scam you. If it's research grade, run away. I mean, you don't need that. That's just opening up a whole new can of worms. Check to make sure that they've been in business. Use a credit card that's easy to dispute. Stay away from some of these spas that are popping up and closing really quick because we don't know what we're getting and we're injecting this stuff in us. We want it to be safe. I want everybody to be safe. An easy way to squash all this is if Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk drop their prices. Right now, what is it, $4.99 or $5.99 up to 10 milligrams? If they just dropped it down to $2.99 for the higher doses, I mean, with Mochi, I'm paying $1.99 and 79, so that's $2.69. I'd be willing to pay an extra 50, 60, even $70 extra to get name brand. I mean, and then don't penalize people if they don't need it for a few weeks after that. I mean, if you're on a higher dose, it's really hard to split it. You're not going to stop people from doing it if they are doing that or if they're microdosing and so forth. So, obviously they're not meeting their shareholders' needs because every quarter that they seem to be falling short. So, they're not doing it by charging $1,200 a dose. So why not lower the doses and do twice, if not three times the business and go from there? I mean, it's working in other countries that way. I believe the UK is paying like 150 a month. Like I said, if we had it down to 300, this stuff costs about $5 a dose. $5 a dose. And if you want to get it in one of those fancy pens, I think the pens cost like buck 50. And I'm sure they're getting it at even a lower price. So personally, I don't mind the vials. That's just me. Some people like the convenience of the pen. Give us a choice. Charge $25 more for the pen, and they're still making even more money. But make it accessible, make it affordable. You could do it. You're doing it in other countries. Come on. So what else is going on in the world of GLP-1 medications? Getting a little bit harder to get with some of these compounding companies. Yeah. Is it going to be around forever? Probably not. Semaglutide, I believe they have till the middle of next month, and they're going to be in the same boat. Once they stop a lot of these companies, is it going to go in shortage again? Does that mean that, these compound companies are going to be able to start selling it again? You know, who knows? They're getting a lot of cease and desist letters, and a lot of these pharmacy and telehealth companies aren't even handling the tirzepatide anymore. So, you could theoretically, if everybody goes to brand name, be in shortage again. Because I know when we picked up my wife's, we had to wait like 3 days in order to get it. Not that that's totally unreasonable. I've been reading that some people are waiting a week or so. You know, that's skipping a dose. That's, not acceptable. I can understand if your pharmacy doesn't have it and they have to get it the next day, but it really shouldn't go beyond too much more than that. Even 2 days if it's late in the day. If you go there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you may not get it the next day, maybe the day after. That's acceptable. Other than that, I don't think it's acceptable. You shouldn't make people, miss their doses. I mean, this is a medication. It is working. It truly does work. It's not magic. It's not a magic wand. You don't take it, pounds shed off. That's not the way it works. If you want it to work really well, you have to put a little bit of work in it. I know I was willing to put some work into it. Eating a little bit better, working out a little bit, a little strength training, keep up with those proteins, keep up with the hydration, electrolytes. It's all really, what you want to put into it. They say if you don't do anything but take the shot, just because you will eat a little less and don't change your diet at all and don't work out, they say that after 13, 14 months, you'll lose about 10% of your weight. Well, to me, that's not much of anything. I really want uh, a good health journey and a new way of life. And if, that means I'm going to be on the medication forever, so be it. Hoping there's going to be some new kinds, uh, new medications. The oral pills might help. They should be a lot cheaper because they don't need the refrigeration. Because again, you go into CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Walmart, any of those, and you see these refrigerators, they're not your $2,000 or $3,000 Home Depot refrigerators. These cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. They have to be monitored. And you can't just, buy a regular refrigerator. It's got to be medical grade. It's got to be inspected. It's got to be probably several times a day, check the temperatures and so forth. That's not cheap. That's adding to, that's why a lot of the pharmacies don't want to have a big stock on hand because one, they have to pay for it up front. And they have limited storage in the refrigerator. Now, remember, most children's antibiotics have to be in the refrigerator. So, like usually that takes a lot of priority. They only have so many refrigerators. I know since the GLP-1 medication, the CVS that I go to used to have one big refrigerator. Now they've got 3 refrigerators. The other 2 aren't quite as big, but that was a big cost to them. And even though they're not really passing it on the price of the medications, they're passing it along in other ways because usually pharmacies like CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, Walmart, they don't make a lot of money on their pharmacy, on their actual medications, prescription medications, because they're told by their PBMs what they're charging and by the insurance companies and so forth. They do that as a convenience to bring people into the stores so that while you're waiting for your prescription, you could shop around and they make their money that way. It's again, they're not going to make the money off of the actual medication because they have to pay for it up front. They have to store it. They have employees that they have to pay, inspections, all sorts of things, training, all sorts of things. So, forget that. That's not going to happen. So let me talk really quickly about our vacation. I didn't cook. Well, okay, I did make a hamburger for lunch one day, but well, what was that? Pop that in a frying pan, throw a little salt on it. But we went out just about every meal. We had our breakfast, we had our protein shakes, a couple of hard-boiled eggs at breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast person anyhow, as most of you already know, so that wasn't a big deal for me. And I was okay with that. So we either went out for a late lunch or early dinner, and pretty much called it a day. And we had a lot of seafood. Was some of it fried? Yeah. Did we have some pasta? Yeah. Did we have some potatoes? Yeah. But when do we go on vacation? Somewhere between 3 to 4 weeks of the year, spread out. So, hey, this is the way of life. I'm not going to give up vacation. I'm not going to give up eating somewhat bad. And yes, I had some ice cream every single night on vacation, but I made my half gallon last for the whole time. And, that was okay. Where before I would probably used to have like 3 half gallons while I was on vacation. Don't need that much anymore. As far as snacks, I bought a big bag of air pop popcorn last minute. Threw out some of it because didn't even eat it all. Worked out every day, which that did make me feel a little bit better. Um, I know you cannot outwork a bad diet, but I really like working out. It's my me time and I enjoyed it. So also want to say that we picked another winner on the contest. So everybody who has entered, please check the comments on the videos because all of a sudden you might find one that says, "Hey, you're the new winner. Email me." Anybody could email me anytime, by the way. GLP-1 Journey and Review at yahoo.com. Any questions, any ideas, more contests are always really popular. Anything that you want me to talk about. I am working on getting a couple of interviews. The people have agreed. We just have to find schedules that, well, one of them is in the UK, so they're 6 hours, 7 hours ahead of me. So we got to find out a good time. It'll be kind of fun. His name is Alan, and we're going to talk about some of the differences between GLP-1 in the UK and in the US. Now, he tells me that he pays $150 name brand. Just about every place has it. No big deal. I don't even know if they have compound in that country, so I'll have to ask him that. And we're going to find out some of the differences. Uh, he just started, I think, about 12 weeks ago. Uh, Again, he's going to probably tell you his weight in stones because that's what they do there. So, hey, technically, I've lost a little over 14 stone. Okay, I think a stone is somewhere a little bit more than 4 pounds. So, uh, when I have him, I'll have the exact number so that I'm sure he knows the pounds too. But, I think it'll be interesting. He's kind of looking forward to it. Again, we have to just find a time that's right for both of us. Um, do a little bit of an interview. I've already got my questions. If any of you have any questions you want me to ask, feel free to email me. Let me see if I put this in here. Give me my personal email, which I don't really have a problem with. I got that right here. Not the best typer, sorry. All right, so that's my email. If anybody wants to do that, I guess I actually should put that on my YouTube page also. Again, Any questions? Like I said, I was emailed that question about taking oral medications with the gastric slowing down, gastric emptying, and I'm going to do a whole video on that and what's recommended and so forth. I always love getting ideas from you guys because you're who I do this for. And I also wanted to bring up an article here. Oh, before I do that, I have found a site that I wanted. See if I remember how to do this. So this is a site. It is glp1winner.com, and you can match up. Like I put in trizepatide, 15 milligrams, that I want it monthly. I'm from Florida. I want compound, and it's telling me what's available and for how much. Mochi Health being the cheapest. It's got their ratings. It's got their prices for all of their different dosages. There we go. Learn how to talk, Lori. Uh, Again, I've used Mochi and I've used Orderly. I like to stick with the big names, although nothing wrong with some of these. Again, just do your homework, please. Page here. Stop. Okay. So that was one site that I wanted to show you. Good information. They've done a little bit of the homework. Also, do your homework on that. And I also had an article. Let me see if I can find it here. That just came out, medical news today. Collagen-based protein bars may help with weight loss, study finds. Okay. Study conducted by Spanish researchers analyzed how effective collagen is as a weight loss aid. The study followed two groups for 12 weeks. One group received collagen-based protein bars and the other did not. The group that received the collagen supplement lost twice as much weight as the control group. More than 70% of adults in the United States are either overweight or have obesity. As this number continues to climb, scientists are interested in finding ways to help people lose weight. There are many popular weight loss options, such as GLP-1 drugs, but these can be cost prohibitive for many people. With this in mind, researchers in a new study took a closer look at supplement collagen. Since collagen is relatively inexpensive, researchers wondered how people who used a collagen supplement for a 12-week period would do compared to a control group. The results showed promise for the future of using collagen supplements as a weight loss aid. The collagen group saw a greater improvement across multiple health metrics. I am a big believer in collagen. I put it in my coffee and I also put it in my protein shake. But besides the collagen and the collagen being so good for your skin, since we are losing weight and, yes, I do have a little bit, flabby skin. I'm a little bit older. I've lost my collagen. The added bonus is you get protein with it. To me, win-win. Where can you find collagen protein bars? Well, we'll have to Google that. Let me see if I can do that. That up there for you, Carol. And let me pull up my magic Google. Collagen protein bars. Collagen protein bars are available at Walmart. Hold that up here. Oh, we couldn't find that match. Okay. There's bulletproof collagen protein bars, peanut butter collagen protein bars. See if I can pull this up and share the screen. For some reason, I'm having a hard time pulling up Google. Oh, it's telling me to download it. I already have it. Well, I'm not going to waste too much more time on this. Sorry, somewhat new computer. Um, 13. Sorry, I'm working on it here. Okay, so these are the protein bars. We have these keto collagen bars, bulletproof. These are collagen sticks. Built bars. So there are a few. Dr. X, official site. So there are some. There are some. Okay. Okay. So found them on Amazon. Hey, probably would have been quicker, but so I'm sure you're going to order some. We'll be expecting them tomorrow, or who knows, maybe even today with Amazon. So I always like collagen. I always believe in collagen. I think it's really good for your skin, especially once you hit 40, you really need the extra collagen. So to me, it's a win-win. I can't tell you how these protein bars taste, but again, we buy the collagen, um, and we add no flavor, and we add it into our coffee. Let's see, Carol has here. Got some protein bars. Did you order them? Okay. So that's my opinion. And like I said, especially on my shot day when I don't eat so much, uh, 20 grams of protein from the protein shake, throw the collagen in, get an extra 10, throw some protein yogurt in, get an extra 13. And, I'm already, protein milk, another 10 after that. I'm already at like 55, almost a whole day's worth of protein. And like I said, that's usually pretty much all I have until dinner. And then if I eat a nice piece of fish or a piece of meat, another 25, 30, and I pretty well made my daily protein. I do shoot for 100, but on my shot day, I'm happy if I get 85, 90, because there are some days that I have a lot more. So, that's that. Everybody will be glad to know that Carol didn't order those protein bars, but I'm sure she will soon, and we'll let you know how they are. So we talked about Nova Nordis, the CEO stepping down. the compound world, um, going on vacation. I don't want anybody to feel that going on vacation has to be like dreaded because of this. It's a lifestyle. No food is off limit. Just moderation. I could have done a little bit better, but for we had somebody with us that just really we couldn't do a heck of a lot. So eating was kind of our main focus and our main entertainment. I don't want to get too into that, but otherwise we could have done a little bit better. But I'm not going to be hard on myself because it was a vacation, and to me, being away a week and only gaining 3 pounds is a win. So again, and we had our chance. We had our ice cream. We had our little desserts. We had this like fried banana thing with a little bit of ice cream that we all shared. A couple bites was enough. We had our pad thai, we had our chicken Alfredo, didn't eat the whole thing. We had leftovers a lot. I think the only time that we really ate just about the whole thing was the night that we had trout, because trout's a very light fish and it's not a huge portion anyhow. So that was good. I do like being in South Florida because we can get all sorts of fresh fish, and I just love fish. It's again because we eat so late at night. Fish is a little bit easier to digest, um, so that's going to help. Now, starting next week, we have gone back to ordering some factor meals because I'm going to be working about a half an hour later than what I usually do. So I don't really want to have to start cooking. And I know sometimes a half hour leads to an hour. So I just might bring my little factor meal with me. Uh, and if I have to eat it while I'm at work, I'll eat it while I'm at work because I just don't want to eat that late at night. I don't want my wife to eat that late at night. So, 2 minutes in the microwave, and we ordered the meals that they're all basically 550 calories or under. I think I put the GLP-1 friendly in, but then I looked at some of the other stuff. Again, I just was reading the labels of what was in it and so forth as far as carbs and stuff like that, and that's how we picked it. I know all of their chicken stuff is really delicious because we've had them before. The salmon stuff is pretty good, but we need to eat that like towards the beginning because they say it stays fresh for 7 days, but anytime I have fish, I don't want it staying any later than you know, it has to. So I tend to do the fish ones first and then the chicken. Um, they have a huge menu. And like I said, 500, basically 500, 550, some are 450 calories for dinner. That's great because we have about, I don't know, about 350 calories for lunch and very low calorie for breakfast. Mine is basically 250 calories. My protein shake, 270, something like that. Or some, my wife sometimes has some hard boiled eggs or a protein bar or a protein shake. So, we're well within our calories to keep the calorie deficit. Although, yes, I do want to lose my 3 pounds, but basically I'm at maintenance. So once I lose those 3 pounds, I'll be wanting to stay at my current weight. We bought a Hume scale. I mean, a little bit, it was very easy to to use it the first time. And then when we added my wife as a user, well, two people can't have it on their Bluetooth at the same time. And now I just absolutely can't get it back onto my Bluetooth. And like, I have to restart this every time. I know there's got to be a better way to do it. Their customer support will be open tomorrow, so I'll probably give them a call. Really couldn't find anything on YouTube to answer the questions. Uh, but I'm sure you don't literally have to start from square one every time you change users. There's got to be a better way because if that is the case, it's going back. but they say that you could actually use, I think they said up to 70 users. So there's got to be a better way. Uh, didn't want to get myself too frustrated. So I tried a couple things and looked it up on YouTube. But once YouTube didn't really help me. And so I'll call the customer support. From what I hear, the customer support isn't like Mochi. They don't keep you waiting hours. Although I hear Mochi has gotten a little bit better and they are having a bot system now that first your call will go to a bot. And if you just need something like your status, it's at the pharmacy, when it's being shipped out, simple question like that, the bot's going to be able to answer that, freeing up the people so that if you have dosage and other price and things like that type of questions or wanting to order, the bots aren't going to be able to help you. Then it'll get transferred over to a human. Don't know how that's going to work. Like I said, I've never had a hard time, but I kind of reach out to them at like 4:35 in the morning when I wake up. A lot of people have found out that trick, but from what I hear, people are saying that they're only being on hold for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. To me, that's still a little too long, but it is an improvement. But according to what I'm reading on Hume, that isn't the case, that they're pretty quick at responding and looking forward. Like, had that really cool drawing of a person, with apparently my left leg has a little bit more muscle than my right leg, which surprised me because I'm right-handed. I do know that from working out that for some reason, my left hand is a little bit stronger than my right hand arm. Don't know why. Maybe I overcompensate. Who knows? But that information is good to know. And like I said, if you gain a couple pounds, you can kind of tell if it's water, because you can compare it to a couple days ago what the amount of water in your body is. And, it's acceptable to gain a little weight from water once in a while. So, it should be good. And you could probably also tell some of that on Renfo, but, this is a little bit more detailed. uh, I like gadgets. What can I say? Uh, so while I was on vacation, took my drone out, got a couple good pictures, got some bites from some no-see-ums. I tend to do that every May when we go there. I keep forgetting about those no-see-ums there, but I'll live. Did a couple videos from the patio, did one actually, a couple on the beach, did one in my bathing suit. I never thought that I would ever do that. So, it was something new for me. One of the reasons why I started this channel is one, accessibility, lower prices, and to make sure, to keep myself honest with, my weight and so forth. I don't want to gain any of it back. And obviously, if I do, people would see it right away. So it keeps me accountable. And, that's part of the reason. Plus, I like talking to all of you. Sometimes I wish that I would have known more about um, this journey when I started. So hopefully, it's helping some other people with their journey. I'm working really hard to do that. Trying to, again, I knew nothing about this. I knew nothing about compound. I didn't know if it was made in a garage. I didn't know any of this stuff. It's like, thinking, wow, do I have to pay $1,200, for a dose? And originally I was just going to use it to jumpstart my diet. But, once I got the compound and I saw, it was working so well for me, it allowed me to do the work without really, I'm not going to say it was easy, but it made it doable. I wasn't constantly thinking about food. I wasn't worried that, oh my God, I'm hungry all the time. Oh my God, this is terrible. Oh my God, what am I going to eat? Oh my God, do I just have to have lettuce and celery? Is that all I'm going to be able to eat today? None of that. So it's doable. And, as I started losing the weight, got a little bit more confidence in myself, started a YouTube channel, started working out a little bit more, had more energy. I was feeling a lot better. So, I wish somebody would have told me all this stuff when I started, that this was going to happen. And, also some tips on what to do, if you have any of these side effects. Now, remember the most common side effects: constipation, diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting. It doesn't happen in very many people. I think they say 10-15%. Constipation may be a little bit more common. Diarrhea also a little bit more common. Water, electrolytes really help. Collagen helps. Hydration, hydration, hydration. I don't think I drank enough while I was on vacation. And I was eating a little bit differently. Didn't really have any problems, but I know I didn't drink enough. So, like, I'm trying to make up for it now. So, downside to that is I'm peeing a lot. But the thing of it is, I'm peeing out fat. Can't beat that. That rhymed. So, any of you out there have any suggestions, any comments? I know most of you watch this on the replay, so I'm really talking to you, and my email address is up there, GLP-1 Journey and Review at yahoo.com. Feel free to email me with any questions, comments, if you want to get interviewed, anything like that. Just drop me an email, put a comment on any of my videos. I do read all of the comments, try to answer them. If I accidentally left somebody out, I apologize. That certainly was not my intent. So again, just let me know what you think. Let me take a quick look at some videos that I have coming up. We talk about myths behind. We're going to talk about carb cycling. What is it? I have done that many times, and I think it's very good with the GLP-1, because some people tend to eat the same thing over and over, and your body just gets too used to it. And everybody's on the low carb, which is good. Low carb is good, but you do have to have some carbs, and this way it just mixes up your body a little bit. Another thing that works really well with the GLP-1 is intermittent fasting. I pretty much do that. I have don't start my window till about 10:30 in the morning, and I ended at about 8 o'clock at night. So um, I'd like to get it down to about 8 to 10 hours, but 8 hours, but with work, that's a little bit hard. So I'm happy with the way that I have it, and I really think it helps. Uh, a lot of statistics show how good it is for you. I'm going to be doing a video on it, so I'll explain it a little bit more then, why it works so well, and just having that window. It's a good thing. Um, Electrolytes, very important. Also, people need to really be concentrating on their proteins and water. If you concentrate on that, everything else will fall into place. Nutrient dense food. If you don't think you're getting enough nutrient dense food, please consult your healthcare provider. You may need to take a vitamin. And also, I'm a big advocate on blood work. This will also help your healthcare provider let you know if you're not getting enough iron, if you're deficient in anything, or anything like that. So Please keep up with that. It's very important because we don't want you getting sick. Just wanted you to see that there's a poor hair infection. I'm like, girl. Okay, sorry about that. My wife just had to show me something. Um, so protein is very important, nutrient dense foods, blood work. This is all super important for any health journey. So please make sure that, you know, you don't know how important it is to have a good relationship with a healthcare provider. Um, Again, these telehealths are good, but what do you see them once a year? I think it needs a little bit more follow up. My biggest regret is that my primary care physician, he's very old fashioned and he does not believe in uh, GLP-1 medications. He knows that I'm on it, but he's one of these just eat a little less, exercise more. He just doesn't get it. Ride your bike 10 miles like I do every day, and everything will be fine. Well, not everybody is the same. It doesn't always work that way. So uh, I wish, and I do have my next healthcare provider that was very good with that, and looking forward to seeing her like every 2 to 3 months. But this guy has been my doctor for 30 years, and he's taken over for my neurologist and a bunch of other doctors, which I'm happy I don't have to go to, 4 or 5 different types of doctors, which is basically the only reason why I'm still with him. But I know there's going to be a time soon. He's going to retire probably soon, and I'm going to have to. And not that I mind going to the doctor. It's just that, let's see, here we go. Well, definitely different for women with hormones and doctors. Some don't understand. Uh, Glad you said that because that's very true. And um, I guess I'm going to let this spoiler out, but Val, check your images and Val, check your comments because you are the last winner. So if you email me at GLP-1 Journey in review at yahoo.com, you're the winner of the latest contest. Everybody that's in the contest, you're still entered. The more times you enter it, the more chances you have to win, and so forth. So I hope all of you have seen the video I did on menopause and GLP-1 and the differences. And hopefully, you know, you'll learn something from it. Again, we're going to be having the video coming out on uh, you have a headache, you want to take some Tylenol. This dissolves in your bowel. You have slow gastric emptying from the GLP-1. Is this going to affect it? So I have all sorts of answers and all sorts of, different things you could try and medications that you really need to look out for if you're taking because of the slow gastric emptying. Um, and that should be coming out. Like I said, I pretty well have the script done. I just got to make a couple quick little changes to it, then record it, edit it, which take a couple of hours. But I'll get that to you hopefully this week or the beginning of next week. And let's all say congratulations to Val for being our latest winner. Yay, go Val! Again, they're just about every single video, not all, but most of them have an entry to the contest. It tells you somewhere halfway to 3/4 of the way through how to enter it. And again, once you like it if you're a subscriber and do what it says. You're entered. If you don't win, you're still entered. The more times that you enter, the more chances you have of winning. So please keep entering. When we get enough people to do this again, we'll give yet another Amazon gift card out. Um, don't mind doing that. Uh, Hopefully, one of you watching either now or watching the replay will be the winner. And looking forward to seeing all of your comments. And again, just drop me an email, drop me a line, drop me a comment, any subject you want me to cover. Sorry, I'm checking out some of the comments here. Um, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to. I'm working with this guy, Alan from the UK, to do an interview of him so we can have the differences between how GLP-1 is sold, prices, prescribed, so forth, in the UK versus the US. And again, if any of you want to be interviewed, I would love to do that. Just again, drop me an email or again, put it in the comments and love to do that. Uh, and again, like Val says here, women are definitely different than men. Men find it easier to lose weight. It's just unknown fact. Um, don't know all the reasons why. Part of it's genetics, part of it is muscle, part of it is activity, part of it is hormones again. Um, so men do have it easier. That's just something we have to live with. And maybe I could do a video on that, but I mean, that's just a known fact. This medication, it's a lifesaver for a lot of us. I want everybody to be aware of some of the potential untalked about side effects. For example, if you have high blood pressure when you start this medication and you start losing weight, please be monitoring your blood pressure because I know it's happened to me and I've heard other people that literally have gotten dizzy and almost passed out or have passed out because they've lost weight, their blood pressure goes down, they're still on the same dose, which is again why I say it's important to have a really good healthcare provider and to stay in contact with them. Uh, to me, that's the one thing I really don't like about all this telehealth is, especially with Mochi, I saw the nurse practitioner when I first started, and pretty much that was the last time. And it's been, what, a year and a half? I know that my doctor can't write certain prescriptions if they don't see you every 6 months. So, it's like, I really think that they should have to at least have a conversation with you a little bit more than what they do. It doesn't necessarily have to even be a televisit. It could be, a text type of thing. I know Orderly does most of their visits via text, and I've been with Orderly a little bit before. Started with them again, and it was all through text. And about a week ago, I got a text from them. Hi, this is the Orderly Doctor. How you doing? Simple, quick, fine, thanks, no problem. And that's it. Let's see. This medication is a major game changer. But we're doing the work. Of course, we're doing the work. It's what you put into it. I have an in-person new PCP appointment in July due to all the Mochi stuff. Again, like I said, I put an order in Tuesday. I got the email from FedEx that they have the label for it, ready to pick up. I don't like a lot of things Mochi's done. Um, but as long as I could still get the medication, I'm going to, because I know it's going to stop soon. Uh, Orderly, with their new rollout of how they're doing it, may get away with it, may not. I don't want to have to count on that. Uh, they're talking about like having blood work on some people, actually having like a Renfo type of scale where they have access to. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if I really would want a telehealth company having access to my home type stuff, but I'm not opposed to it. I think they need to do something. Uh, Again, if they have a list maybe of 20 different types of additives, some for nausea, some for maybe constipation, some for a lot of other type of stuff, then, you know, it might work. Yeah, I just want to see someone in person to get the branded prescription as a backup. Mochi was great to me, though most of my journey just said they had all the negative. Yeah, they had a lot of negatives. And like I said, now these compounding pharmacies are getting hit. Is it coincidence? Who knows? Is it, like I said, if I knew I was under a microscope like these people were, I would be crossing my T's, dotting my I's. And again, there, if Eli Lilly is saying that half the people on tirzepatide are on compound, that's a lot of money out there. That's a lot of business. And with these new medications coming out, with people switching back, now to Lilly Direct and so forth, is it going to go back into shortage again? I know with these new medications, there's probably going to be some sort of shortages with them. I mean, they're going to put themselves out of business, these pharmacies, before these new drugs even get there. Although they'll probably just reopen under a different name and different things. It's kind of sad. I would love to have the name brand, and Lilly Direct is getting close. If they would drop it down to $300 for the higher doses, be a no-brainer. Like I said, I talk to this guy Alan all the time in the UK. They're paying $150. This stuff costs $5 to make. $5 to make a dose. They're still making a killing if they charge $300 for it. And it's strategic. Do you see that Eli Lilly is building a facility in Texas? Yes, they're, they are. There's just a lot of money to be had with this. It's, again, I don't deny them the money. I just want better access, more affordable medication. Like I said, I know with Mochi, I'm paying 279. I would pay 350 for name brand. And screw this shit. I mean, screw this stuff if you don't order every 45 days, we're gonna up it. Like some people take a break. It's like, again, we were debating when we went on vacation, were we going to take our medication? Weren't we going to take our medication? There's reasons now. I can understand if you're only ordering it once every 3-4 months, but this, you have to order within 45 days or the price is going up. That's insane. They're making so much money as it is. Like I said, if they made it $325, I would switch in a heartbeat. I would prefer the name brand. You know what it is. You know what's going on. It's the real stuff. Uh, Supposedly it's super quick. You order it 2 days later, you have it. Uh, I am going to be interested with Orderly with they're doing the study on having the non-refrigeration and how it keeps up and so forth, because if it could save us money, that would be great. Uh, this is a very stable medication. the first company that I used, it never came cold. And they just said, hey, we're in Tampa, you're in South Florida, you ain't gonna get cold. I think they literally had an ice cube in a Ziploc bag as their cooling thing. And it worked fine. I lost most of my weight on that. And I did that for most of for my 2.5 and my 5 milligrams. But then when it went up to 7.5, they were charging as much as Eli Lilly. So I'm like, well, that's insane. So, that's when I switched to orderly. Um, but again, the fact that a medication is a little bit expired doesn't bother me so much. I'm okay with it being 98% effective. That's just me. I'm not, telling everybody else how to do it, but I've taken, out of date medications. I've taken them a couple of years out of date, and they're still pretty damn effective. So, yeah, not the GLP-1s, of course, but as long as it's a stable medication and it may not be 100%, you don't think compound is going anywhere. It just seems like they are getting around this, but I don't know for how long. Uh, Again, remember once the supply for the uh 503As, is up, again, maybe orderly, has a thing, maybe they have it right because, with this individual dosing and uh, a specific type of additives and so forth. Uh, but again, I don't know how, can you say if you write 5,000 prescriptions that it's specific dosing? I don't know. I don't know what the legality is. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be, but I could see how that could be, you know, a problem. But, all these things are just going to keep it out fighting in court longer and make it available for us a little bit longer. I hope it's not going anywhere. Um, but, you know, we'll have to see. It's my big hope. But like I said, if this could be stopped in an instant if Eli Lilly lowers the price, let's say 300, 320, something like that. Who wouldn't go for name brand, at that price, considering, like I said, we're paying 279 from Mochi, which seems to be one of the cheapest. And, we're getting terrible customer service for the most part. And, uh, allegedly, the CEO, Dr. Myra, lying and all that kind of stuff. Allegedly. Um, Not to say that that isn't happening anywhere in Eli Lilly, but again, they came up with this medication. I think they have the right to, you know, to have the patent, but make it affordable. 70% of America is either overweight or obese. We could end this. We could put a stop to the majority of this. And let me tell you, even if they did lower it to 300, we'll just say 300 for practical purposes. Of course, compounding, if they wanted to stay in business, would have to lower it to, let's say, 200. And you would still find people that say, oh, I'd rather only pay 200. But, like I said, if you're worried about any of this, I would, for a reasonable price, would much rather have name brand than, I'm seeing posts all the time, like, was this water? I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that I think these compound companies do have some standards, and they do have some rules that they do have to follow, and they do have testing. I just think it's the person and some of their mental state, and you can't, if you don't lose weight in the week that you injected, you can't blame it on the compound. You could do everything right and still not lose weight. It's that's just part of it. Uh, no contest word today, not on the live, but we have some coming up. I did some videos while we're on vacation, and there's some contests in there. Um, so I try to at least have two contests entries for the week, sometimes more. And uh, Carol, I appreciate you entering every time, but I'm sorry you're not eligible. Um, but I appreciate the effort. Uh, Again, I love giving things to you guys. I love making you happy. I love informing you. I love the fact that there's a possibility that all of this talk could possibly give us better access and more better pricing, but not just me, it's the whole community. And again, I want to remind people on these Facebook groups, if you have any problem, please, please, please don't report it to Facebook because they will just take it down, ask questions later. And I know people have now have backup. I know On the Pen has a backup. I know Allie now has a backup site. Uh, they have moderators. They go through their thing, through their comments constantly. So if you have any type of problem, try to let them handle it first because Facebook doesn't care. You know, there's also some rumors of other things, being behind this that, some of these drug companies are actually banging people. I don't know if that's true or not, um, but again, I was really surprised that Eli Lilly watches and listens to the downsides. So, what the heck? You never know with these companies. So that's pretty much what's going on this week. And I will be putting out some videos every day and probably have another live next Sunday. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm about a month and a half away, hopefully, from getting monetized. I can't wait. Share this with some friends. Uh, Again, there's room for more. If you want to start your own YouTube channel, go for it. If you need any help, I'd be happy to help you. The more people advocating for us, the better. Uh, Thank you, Val. I'll have a great day. Send me your email address so I could get that out to you. GLP-1 Journey and Review at yahoo.com. Let me post that real quick. I'm a terrible typer. Oh, that's wrong too. I think I got it right here. There we go. That looks right. Okay. So send me your email address so that I could do that. Hopefully Alan's going to get in touch with me in the next week or two. I know he's got a vacation coming up. So we'll get that interview out to you. So have a great Sunday. Have a great week. Have some good weight loss. Have some good eating habits. Let me know in the comments what your favorite meals are. And if there's anything that you would like me to talk to you about. Bye for today.